Welcome back, guys, and this one's going to be a bit of a big one. It's actually a request from the Discord, and it's about how to get upgrades using your points that you earn throughout the match to apply traits, and to get it to show up at the bottom of the screen with how many points you still need and the goal, which is a lot like Last Spartan Standing, but now you can apply it to other modes, which is what we're all here for. This doesn't work as well with weapons because of the way it functions, but we will cover weapons on another date. But without much else, let's get into it. There's no map setup, not a bit. This is optional toward the end, and I'll explain that, but it's not required. All I have is a grunt that spawns over and over again, and I get to kill him, so that way I get points, and that's it. So let's jump right into it since it's a fully scripting related video. So to start, we're going to need an event on gameplay start, and we're actually going to use 3 different events at the very beginning here. So we're going to go ahead and grab on gameplay start from regular events, events AI on AI unit killed, and then events players on player spawned. Just like that. We're going to be combining all of these into one event. So to do that, we need to trigger a custom event. I'm picking global, so that way if there's another script brain that you want to trigger to give some points or take some points, you don't have to create this whole thing again. You can just reference that one singular node on global event custom, something like that. So let's go ahead and name this one points, just for simplicity, because that's what we're going to be working with. And now we can start setting these up. So the first one is for each player on gameplay start. So go ahead and connect these two here on gameplay start to for each player. Now we're going to go down here to players and get all the players in the game. And going to plug those players into the objects. Awesome. We can actually go ahead and connect this now. So execute per player, connected here. And the object needs to be the current player, so that way you'll see. It's a way to transfer things over into a different event down here without having to worry about trying to declare it somewhere else. Okay, so now with this, we can actually duplicate this for both of these because they're the same exact event. So with this one, we can actually plug directly in. We don't have to do anything extra, and plug player into object right here. This one, we have to add one node in between, and that's going to be in game mode and adjust personal score, because we're going to be giving players points based on what they do. So adjust personal score here, connect that here, and then connect it to the trigger. And we're going to be, the killing unit is the player, obviously. So when you kill an AI, the person who killed that AI will get the points, and the points they're going to get is 10. Just make it easy. And then the object on this one is also going to connect back here. Anything that references a player in these, we will be connecting to the object pin, because now that we're going to the custom event, so let's go on to it, on custom event global from the events custom tab. You see we have an object here. We can transfer our player that did any of these things to our object output here and do things for it from here. It's wonderful. So let's go ahead and name this points, just like our triggers, and now we can get into it. So we're going to go ahead and go to game mode and knock this out. We're going to grab get personal score, because it's going to be getting the player's score that did any of these things and do something with it. We're going to need some compare nodes, so let's go to logic compare. And we're going to need about 3 of these because we're going to do 3 levels. That's all we're going to do. So let's go ahead and on this first one, we're going to make it 300. Operand B is 300, while operand A is your total score. We're going to be comparing the player's score at the time that this event happens to 300, because that will be our top level. We have to work top down, and I'll explain that once it's all said and done. Just bear with me. We're going to go ahead and duplicate this twice because we do have 3 levels, and we're going to go in increments of 100. So each level will be 100 more than the last. So let's go ahead and plug operand A back into total score, just like our first one, and there, we're done with that. We're going to grab some Boolean logics from the logic category, and we're going to do this for each of our compare nodes. There you go, get a good look at that. And now we can go ahead and plug this in like we're supposed to. We're going to grab A equals B and plug it into operand A, and A greater than B and plug it into operand B for each of these. Now that that's done, it's not much different. You can just work with it like that. There you go. Now we need to do something with our branches. So we're going to start our first branch here and go ahead and connect that directly to our event. The condition will be from our first set of nodes right here, and it's going to be the or. So that way is it, does the player have 300 or more points? Yes. If that's true, it will do something. But let's go ahead and get our other branches set up that we will be needing, so that way we don't have to later before we move on. So we have 3 branches for each of our 3 nodes. Go ahead and in the if false output of the first one, connect that to the one below it. Same way here. And the condition will be the exact same thing, but for the node below the one above it. Well, for obvious reasons. So there we go. That's how that's supposed to be set up. Now we need to go ahead and set up our UI objective banners. We're going to start from the bottom on this one though. Since our branches are set up, we can start from where we want to first. We're going to connect this one to the if false. Let's say you don't have 100 or more points. Let's say you have less than 100. And if you start the game, you will have less than 100 points. And this is what we're going to be showing the player as soon as they start the game and before they get 100 points. So go ahead and connect player of set objective banner for player all the way back to object, and every one of these nodes right here, the player will always connect back to our object of our custom event. Now we need to create the message. For this type, we're going to create a message that says upgrade, and you have this many points, you need this many points. I'm going to move this over here. That's what create UI message B is for. So let's go to our settings here, and we're going to change this from empty, of course, to string1 x/y. String 1, we're going to name it upgrade because you will be upgrading your Spartan with your points that you earn. So there we go. X you can leave empty because we're going to be plugging that in. The Y is 100. So let's move this down here out of the way a little bit. That's how it looks. The X needs to plug into our total score because now, as soon as we start the game, it's going to show us this message at the bottom. And it's not even a message, it's the banner. So it's going to stay at the bottom of your screen, down where it says dynamic fixed script on my screen. Yeah, that's what objective banners do. And they stay there, even through death. So that's what we're going to do. And you're going to see that you have 0 points because that's what you start with. And you need to get to 200, or 100 actually. Plug that message in to the message here. And make sure that it is true, enabled true. So that's what will happen. Whenever the game starts, we will see that we have 0 points and we need to get to 100. So now that we have that, we need to set it up for the other ones as well. So we can actually duplicate this, move it on up here. And we're going to do it this many times, 4 times. Yes, we have 3 levels, but you'll see why we're doing it like this. So we can actually go ahead and connect the if true to the respective set objective banners for players, just like that. And we will need to connect player all the way back to object every time, just like that. Now we're going to need to create the messages for these. So let's go ahead and duplicate this a couple times. There we go, get a little bit more room. And there we go, because this one at the top will have a special different type of message. So we can actually just have the 3 that we need back here. So go ahead and plug the message pin to each of the message pins on this. And this one will say 200. And this one will say 300. Go ahead and plug the X of these into the total score like they're supposed to be, just like our first one. And there you go. That's how that's supposed to work. Lastly, we're going to go ahead and show what happens when a player gets the maximum level. We're just going to create a regular UI message this time and place it right on top. Connect the message here to the message pin down here, just like that. And let's go ahead and set our message up. Our message template is going to be string 1, string 2. And we're going to name this one levels complete. Yeah, there you go, just like that. And now we can actually test it out and it will do exactly what we need it to do. Okay, we have 0 points. We now have 10. So we can keep going. And you'll notice whenever, I'm just going to keep going, I won't have to say anything. Just pay attention down there at the objective banner, that it will go up to 200 once we reach 100. Yeah, see, just like that. And here we go. We're going to go to 300. Just like that. Okay, we're almost to the max level. It will switch from saying numbers to levels complete. Just like that. There you go. And it will keep saying levels complete no matter what you do now, because you are the max level. There we go. Now, how do we do things based on that? How do we gift the traits? Well, because of that, all we need to do is declare our trait types. So we go to traits. There we go. And declare trait set. I'm just going to do one trait per level, so we can see them working. We're going to name this one camo, because it will be active camo. These settings don't really matter. I'm just throwing it out there, just kind of throwing it together, just the way it works. Let's move this up here. We're going to duplicate this 3 times, or 2 times, for a total of 3. There we go. And now we need to grab, let's say, sprint speed. I'll do sprint speed for our second level. Go ahead and plug the trait in there like that. And top speed 5 times faster than normal. And we get to top speed faster, twice as fast. There we go. And then lastly, let's grab jump height. We're going to make that our last one. We're going to jump 4 times higher than normal. Let's go ahead and name these what they're supposed to be so the identifiers don't match and it breaks things. I'm going to name one camo, fast, and jump. There we go. So now we need to go up here and grab apply trait set. Plug that in here to our second to last. So that way, this is the one based on if you have 100 or more points. So that means you reach the next level. You get this trait set. So we're going to give this one camo. Once you reach 100 points or more, you get active camo. Apply immediately, true. Player is going to connect back to the object. Just all of these will, because we're going to be using a few of these. All of them will. So there you go. That's all you need to do there. Go ahead and duplicate this. Move this up here. And then name the identifier to fast, because that's the one we're going to give next. Player connects to object, just like before. And we're going to do the same thing for this, and name this one jump, because that is what we're going to give for the last level. Okay, this will work, but there's a bit of an issue. Let's say your character dies. Let's say your Spartan dies, you die. And you still have all the points, you're still at that level, but you don't have those traits now. And if you were to spawn, you would only gain one of these traits based on what level you are. You don't want that. So we're actually going to duplicate it like this. We're going to make sure, because they're traits, the way they work, it won't hurt anything if you go ahead and give the traits a second time, even if they already have them. So let's go ahead, since we duplicated that and connected it there. Now if you're level 2, or 3 actually, yeah, level 2, my bad. If you're level 2, you will get both of these. If you spawn, if anything happens like that, you will get both of these traits, so you don't have to worry about losing them if the player would die. And you know what? Same exact thing right here. Go ahead and copy those two and put them up here, because when you're level 3, if something were to happen and you're still level 3, you get all 3 traits if you were to respawn. Right there. Plug the player in. Yeah, like I said, we're going to be connecting a lot of things to that. We're almost done. We're at our last step. Okay, all of these are good now. So no problem. And you won't get anything if you're lower than 100 points, because you're back down to base level. You don't have anything. We can test this out, and it will be just fine. Okay, you see I have 0 points. Our jump speed or jump height is normal. Our run speed's normal, and I don't have active camo. So I'm gonna blast through these guys, and when we get to 90, I'll get back to normal speed. Okay, we're at 90. Nothing's happened. Okay, now whenever I get him, I'm going to be at level 100, or I'm going to have 100 points. We'll be level 2, and we will be invisible. Oh, now we're invisible. And what if we die? I'm going to go ahead and blast myself. We spawn in, and we get our trait back. Because we didn't lose any points, so we can. So let's go ahead and move up to our next level. Okay, so we're at 190. Our jump height's normal. Our run speed is normal. But if we go up to our next level, now our sprint speed is extremely quick. Well, quicker than it was when we didn't have the trait. So now that we have that, we can also do the same thing as before. Notice we are still running very fast, and we also still have our active camo. So let's go ahead and get to our max level and see what happens. Okay, jump height's still normal, but our run speed's fast and we're active camo. Let's go on to our max level. Level's complete. Run speed's really high. So is my jump height. Now we have all 3 of our levels. We're maxed out. And yes, I'm gonna do it again. And we still have all of our traits from being max level. And yeah, nothing happens if you get more points, because you are max level, and you keep everything you have. Now the last optional bit, if that's something you're worried about, is what if the player loses points? What if there's something in your map that allows them to lose points? Let's say they suicide, let's say they break something, or they destroy something, or they hit an enemy or a friendly and they accidentally take out a friendly. If you have something that takes away points, and that's easily fixed and incorporated here, all we need to do is go to remove trait set and remove the one that is not supposed to be on that level, or the ones. This one only has 1 because you're not supposed to have the jump on level 2. So let's go ahead and plug this in, remove trait set to our object here. We're going to name this one jump because once there we go, remove immediately is true. Because if you remove it, then when they respawn and they have 200 or more points but they don't have 300, it will make sure that they lose this. So if they respawn, they will lose this trait but keep these other 2. Same thing here. Just duplicate it, plug it in like that, and just name them like they're supposed to be. And now, at level 1, they will earn active camo, but when they lose those points, they will no longer have fast or jump. If something were to remove several hundred points at a time, this would make sure to get them all off. And last but not least, we're going to copy this as well, paste it, and we're going to duplicate it one more time so we can account for camo now, because if you have less than 100 points, you won't have any traits. So if you somehow lose all those points down to under 100, now you will you won't have anything. And yes, we're going to go ahead and plug player from all of these into the object. I'm going to speed through that, but yes. So there you go. That will make sure that if something were to get rid of some points, that when the player would spawn, then their traits would disappear. But what if something takes away points that doesn't involve the player dying? Well, that's what this is for. You can connect the event that would cause the player to lose points to the custom event, and it will work just fine. So let's go to custom event on object interactive, because that is what the button is for. We're going to use this button, and I'm going to call it subtract button. Just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and go to game mode because that's what we're doing. We're going to adjust personal score and take away 50 points. So go ahead and plug that in like that. Score adjustment, -50. Not -509, preferably. There we go. And activating player, plug that into player here. And it's basically the exact same thing as this right here, as this one. So we go ahead and duplicate our trigger custom event. And plug our object into our activating player. So there you go. All you need to do whenever you have something that doesn't kill the player but takes away the points, after you adjust their points, then trigger the custom event, and everything will update accordingly. And that's it. That little optional bit was about 4 nodes and an involved button. And it accounts for losing points and gaining points and all. So let's go ahead and give it one last test with this involved, and that's it. 0 points. Okay, we're 90. Let's go ahead and go up a level. We are active camo. But what if we lose those 50 points now? Now we also lose our active camo, and you noticed it said 200 there to get to it. Now it's saying to get back to 100. And now it says 200 again, and we have our active camo back. And yes, this applies across the board. We have our really fast running speed, and then we do not anymore. And it says 200 instead of 300. So there you go. Whew, that was a close one. Remind me to leave the safety on next time. Anyway, we got that knocked out. It is player specific, so you don't have to worry about it showing up on somebody else's HUD, what you did, and they're showing up on yours, and them getting your traits, and all that stuff. It's all good. I'm glad I got that knocked out, and it was a lot of nodes, but it functions, and it's great. Oh, and this is Rusty. Say hello, Rusty. He's shy. Don't worry about it. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one.